Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video, we are looking at critical metals. It is time for an update. And on this chart, previously we have been looking for a potential 1-2 setup where we have identified an initial 5-wave move to the upside. In reality, I would have preferred for this structure to actually form one more low and one more high to complete a larger wave 1. The structure would have looked better with one more high, but this does not mean we cannot look for a trade setup here, especially because since the previous video, we have fulfilled the wave 2 expectations. And not only that, but we also have a confirmation potentially within the smaller time frame here. Now, before we get into that, before we get into all those details, let me provide some context for you, because while it is rather simple, it is actually quite important. So, on the larger time frame, I am tracking a larger leading diagonal. Within this structure, I am missing one additional high within a wave 5. So if I'm looking at these structures, I can quite clearly see that within this as a wave 4, I already have 3 waves to the downside in place. This correction is actually more than enough for a bottom to be in. The proportions are acceptable with what we have within an internal wave 2, especially given the strength, the extension to higher prices where it's done over 20x. So at this point, I am looking to form an A, B, C pattern within the wave 5 and actually extend to new all-time highs, which could very easily translate into a 4x movement. Now, even if we are looking for a wave A to take place within this as a wave 5 mainly, this does not mean we cannot expect to build a 5-wave pattern within it, right? In the previous video, we have identified this as a potential wave 1 to the upside. We've had a wave 2 correction here, and what is of the highest interest to us is this next wave to the upside, the wave 3. Why? Well, that is because even if this structure overall fails to build a 5-wave pattern within the wave A, we still expect to build a 3-wave move to the upside. Always, if we can identify an initial 5-wave move to the upside, we are going to have high probabilities of continuation to higher prices within at least another 5-wave pattern. And do keep in mind that this initial 5-wave pattern up within this wave 1 is not perfect, right? We would have liked one more high once again. But it is decent enough for a trade setup, especially given the large time frame context, which is why we have been tracking previously this support zone in white for a potential wave 2 correction. Now, in the smaller time frame, we have identified previously this idea of an ABC structure that could take place here. I would actually still find it favorable for this to be a more clearly complete wave C to form actually one more low. I am not ruling out one more low, especially since the levels of resistance for this structure have not yet been broken. All we have gotten is a wick above this last level of resistance, and definitely I am looking for a potential trade setup internally within this structure, because even if we ideally form one more low within this as a wave C, we have internally within this structure an initial 5-wave move to the upside, which allows us to look for a trade setup regardless. And certainly, this can fail. Any trade setup can fail. But given the right parameters, we can be looking at something quite compelling, a potentially quite high value trade, quite high potential for decently minimal risk. I could be looking from the current levels at $11 to be going in a wave C to the upside even, not even a wave 3, to the 100% extension of the wave A. Well, that sits at $21.5. That's nearly a 2x from the current levels. And sure, it doesn't need to get there, but even if this goes only to the 78.6% extension, I would still be looking to gain a decent amount for risking, what is it, like 8%? Quite negligible from the current levels in this as an internal trade setup. So, regardless of the potential failure and one more low within this yellow structure, I can track an internal trade setup. If you want to be more conservative and maybe not risk really anything, you could be looking to allow this entire area of support to be your actual trade setup, right? In this scenario, you wouldn't actually need to get out of the trade once this internal 1-2 setup fails. You could be allowing a retracement as low as the last level of support without invalidating the larger trade setup, and that remains applicable. And different approaches will fit better for different people, The main idea being that we are looking at decently high rewards even in a not so successful move to the upside. And definitely, if you are going to allow this entire area of support even while buying at these high levels, you're going to need to size down, otherwise you risk losing a lot more money than it is necessary because, I repeat myself, while it is a trade setup, it is not guaranteed to work. Even if we favor to continue to higher prices, this does not mean you should be betting the farm on it, but ultimately, how you approach this will be your decision. The way I see it, there is potential, we have a confirmation, even though we haven't yet broken resistance, so this is what I'm looking at. I'm primarily watching the levels of support between $11 down to $10.1, and against the 78.6% retracement. I prefer to continue directly higher within this structure. If we fail to hold it, I primarily prefer one more low within this as a wave 5 in yellow as part of the larger wave C. And for now, we will stop here. These are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.